If it's one villa, the smallest villa, it is most optimal to simply conclude a contract with some entity that will not open anything in their name. There is no concept of optimal, because it all depends on what you want. Should we move more towards legal business practices, or towards tax optimization, or towards increasing profits, or towards capital withdrawal?
This is illegal.
No. This way, you bypass certain aspects of the law.
Subtitles made by Dimitozok. Let's talk about how to become, how should I put it, indeed actually a young developer. For example, a person does not have $2 to $3 million. They have some amount in the range of $20, $30, $100,000, and they decided to build a modest villa. He found a construction company that promised to build for him. They built this villa.
Well, I'm just in this perfect moment right now. Well.
Well, within a year, of course.
No, but still.
Built. Immediately.
Everything is going well for him. I am happy for this person.
This is a preface. So, initially, this person goes and registers a company just like any developer. Right.
Well, yes.
Although he can, as a private individual, buy a plot of land. He can also lease it, instead of purchasing it.
To commission some company for construction, for example.
That's absolutely right. It's all according to the contract, everything. Well, the company submitted all of this, and he received some permits and so on. The land is yellow and green. They have somehow resolved this as well. The electricity connection will be provided to him as a private individual.
On the landowner, not on him.
Electricity is always connected to the landowner.
Well, no, not always, but most likely on the landowner.
How will the garbage be taken out? Who will solve this issue? It's difficult. So I see. Let's skip it for now, and we'll clarify it later. And just like that, real estate has miraculously formed on private property. We are examining an individual landlord. This individual landlord can't rent out on a daily basis. They can only rent it out, and they must pay taxes.
Through the management company?
If he can do it himself, then it's 20%. If through a management company, it will be as agreed.
He can't do it himself? He still needs to hire someone to manage the rentals?
Okay, so he is taking the Indonesian...
Yes, let's say...
And the Indonesian rents it out, receives money, and this money is simply transferred to him.
Yes, for example, yes. But it's better to go through a management company. That's the most sensible option, because the Indonesian with the money might disappear somewhere. Again, Indonesians always perceive money as their own, which I really dislike. So at some point he might pay you, and at another moment he might say, "Sorry, my wife is sick."
Okay, the management company. A contract is concluded between the private individual and the management company, which takes on a certain percentage. How much is typical in the industry?
20-30%?
She takes 20-30%, but at the same time she transfers the net money to the owner after deducting all taxes. How much does that actually amount to? So there is 100%. They paid about $1,000 a month for the villa.
From $1,000, they will have to pay 20% of your taxes, plus take their commission.
Why 20?
You're a private individual, you don't have a kites, I suspect.
Okay, if there are kites, 10.
10%. All right, so that makes it $900. From these $900, they need to take their commission, which is 20%, leaving $180 and $720 from that thousands.
In short, I really rented it out for $1,000. Received 700. Yes, again, the account depends. This money can be transferred to a private individual's account.
Yes. This is already pure income, as an investor.
If this investor has just a regular bank account, it just doesn't matter. Is it the same with crypto?
Well, yes, if your country supports it.
It's legal? And what if I use cryptocurrency on the Indonesian exchange?
Well, it's the same thing. Yes, you can get money in any way, as long as you don't get caught for it in your country.
And cash?
Are you really going to work with a management company? Look, management companies usually hire those who either already have many properties here or are mostly based abroad, because the others who are here often organize this process themselves, meaning they open a company and manage the entire rental process on their own. So if you are abroad, cash is absolutely not an issue. But you can also receive money in cash. It's not a problem. You can negotiate with the management company. If you really need it, they will also give it to you in cash.
Will this be issued legally or not so much?
It is legal, but in Indonesian rupiah, of course, it is legal.
Yes, because all the taxes have been paid. This is purely your idea.
Of course, of course.
Currently, around the world, China, Turkey, and even Dubai are oppressing and simply cutting off the oxygen for businesses, especially those from Russia.
Yes.
Everyone wants to move to a good place to live and recover there as quickly as possible.
What would you recommend? 100% Southeast Asia and 100% Indonesian. Because firstly, we have low taxes here, and secondly, we are in a good sense a financial dump where there is no financial regulation, strict and rigorous, at least at the current moment, and it becomes quite easy to relocate or open a new business right here, and from here, having a company in Indonesian to distribute money or send it wherever you need.
And who will do this?
There is an excellent, amazing, absolutely magnificent channel called Expert Bali. You can go there. There is a lot of useful information on this channel about how to do it step by step, who exactly will do it, and in general, how to organize this business practically turnkey, even without flying to Indonesia.
Cool. Let's say a person is a bit more experienced. He opened a company and is registering this one villa under the company. Is that reasonable or not?
I believe so.
Or is it better to register the land in your name, build, and then conduct business through a company? What is the advantage of this approach?
I honestly didn't understand the difference.
The dilemma is a big difference because the contract, if I enter into a land lease agreement for 25 years, I am entering it on my own. I have a KITAS because I have a company and the company simply submits invoices there. But at the same time, I can issue a power of attorney for the sale of this property personally, as it is considered my property.
It is considered that if you, as an individual, are renting, it is not your property. It is the property of the owner. It will always belong to the owner because you are renting it. It is not your property, and you can only sublet it to someone else. I built it. When you build something on this plot, it becomes yours. However, as we know, the validity of this situation is limited. Once the lease term ends, it will no longer actually be your property.
This is clear. What is unclear is whether it is more optimal to register the land plot, lease the land plot to a company or to an individual.
What is the goal? I mean, what does it mean to be optimal? People always have different goals.
The goal is to optimize expenses.
Goal is optimize expenses.
Where do you live, here or here?
Better slightly more on the company?
Regarding the company, this is all about the peak. In this case, if everything is partnership-based, and the company must have at least 2 co-founders, the company then transfers what has already been built to another management company.
She can manage it herself, or she can delegate. It depends on whether it's a long-term situation. She might handle it herself, but for short-term, she would use a management company or hire Indonesians through an Indonesian company. There are many options, yes.
Well, I understand that there are many options, but what is the most optimal? An Indonesian is hired, and this Indonesian rents out the property, receives their salary, and lists it on Airbnb. Look, NB, look, look, look.
No, from my point of view, there is no concept of optimal in business, because it all depends on what you want. Should we move more towards legal business, or towards tax optimization, or towards increasing profits, or towards capital withdrawal?
So it means that very least, yes, with the help of Bali Legal, you can go in all directions right away.
No, there is always something that needs to be chosen.
How is it usually optimal here?
Again, optimal. It typically depends on the number of objects. If there is one villa, the smallest villa, it is most optimal to simply conclude a contract with some agent who will not open anything in their name. This host will list this property on Airbnb and everywhere, and everywhere, and everywhere accordingly. For that, and if necessary, if there is a need, for example, for a client to view it, he shows the property and rents it out. That's what good.
And where is the money transferred?
Money. Where will the money be transferred? The money can be transferred to your Indonesian company here, if it has, for example, a rental option registered.
If I rent through these companies, Airbnb and Booking, then the money. The tenant theoretically pays to them, right? Yes, well, maybe, yes. And there is already a wallet, or a person's card, directly linked to it. That is, you can simply present Indonesia as a business card.
like a business card, such a shield. And this is generally quite a popular story. Is it legal? No.
Is it illegal?
No.
How?
In this way, you are circumventing certain aspects of the law.
And what if the Indonesian takes and writes about you saying that this and that, here he is?
But for this, first of all, you need to establish a relationship with the Banjar where your villa is located, explaining that you are renting it out, and the Indonesian must understand that you are providing him with a job and helping him grow his salary. And most importantly, when you meet with him regularly, you need to explain to him how you directly influence, and he influences, the growth of that salary. And he should say, "Thank you, Pak," to you every month. This is what is called human relationships. If you do something here, there, in a gray area, a little illegally, then of course you must, yes, create friendliness.
Okay. Is it a mistake if a person has been living with a family for a long period of time and has kind of settled in, right? And accordingly, he thinks he knows this family. They treat each other well, and he has been renting property from them for a long time. He takes again a piece of land from them, builds a villa, and tells this family to give him one of their sons or daughters to help with everything, and this will be, so to speak, our little private affair. How politically and tactically really savvy is this move?
A tactically illiterate move, absolutely yes, because, well, in cases where foreigners have been deceived here even with closer ties.
Well, they do not exist, I understand.
No, on the contrary, too much, unfortunately.
This is a direct reason to give yourself...
A direct reason to let oneself be deceived, and in general, well, this is a direct reason to show the little racer that here he can bury something. In other words, from the perspective of karma, from the perspective of the Bolid people, you are creating the conditions for him to crave, so to speak, to desire, you understand. So, it's like putting a bag of money in the middle of the room. A person will come to clean for you. They've never had that kind of money in their life. They want everything, and the bag of money is just sitting there. They come once, twice, 3 times, and then they can't handle it.
It won't pass.
And will take...
We'll remove everything.
So let's stop giving out these bags of money. The bags of money should be with us, and we should carefully distribute from them.
He is generously willing to share... Look, there is a Banjar, there is a villa, there is the owner of the villa, who is, so to speak, a foreigner living in this Banjar, and everyone knows about it. Is there a person who is also from this Banjara, or is this some random Indonesian who is renting it out?
Of course, it's better with this Banjar.
Well, he is also from that Banjar, so he knows perfectly well how much this villa brings in. The whole village knows about it, right? So, some guy named Vasya came, rented a piece of land from this guy over there, I don't know, Maud or Voya, built a villa, and is renting it out for that.
He knows this within the limits of what you allow him to know. That is, so to speak, there is, for example, daily rental. Accordingly, he sees, conditionally, 20% of all payments, approximately, that he personally processes, for example, and the rest he does not see. That is, you can create a system in which, again, everything goes to your bank account, and you simply agreed with him on a salary, and that's it. And in fact, he doesn't really know anything, because actually, the arrival of funds into your account is something only you see through your company.
And what if there is such an NDNS that says, I will rent it to you for approximately this amount during high season, and for this amount during low season, and my percentage is 10%, and I will transfer the money to your card?
It's a common story as well. Well, purely based on my ethical business considerations, I'm not thrilled about all of this. I don't like it when money, well, I don't know how to say it correctly, so as not to offend anyone. In general, the entrepreneur must manage the money themselves. That is, the person who organizes the business should keep all the money around them, because the one who knows how to organize a business also knows how to manage money. And to hand over the management of money to another person is to condemn the business to death. This is purely an ethical matter, so...
I understand. I realize that the following conclusion can be drawn from this. If you want to engage in business here in terms of development, specifically for a person with a little money who wants to try, yes, they should take it, build this property, and then either hand it over to someone or, better yet, sell it right away. Yes, it's better to sell it now, for example. It's better to sell right away than to bother yourself with all these things. If selling the lease term matters, for example, there is a contract for 10-15 years with the right to extend. Yes. And there is a contract for 25 years with the option to extend. It is clear that the latter is a priority. But still, how much does it affect the value of the villa, for example, if the villa is worth $100,000? It has a lease agreement for 25 years. And exactly the same villa, only the contract is for 15 years. How much cheaper will it be?
Well, in terms of labor costs, it won't be cheaper. It will be the same.
How much will it be possible to sell it for? That is, how much cheaper will the price be because it is not for 25 years?
The selling price will not be lower because people will not want to sell it below its cost. This is simply a developer's mistake that was made as a villa built 25 years ago. And a villa built 15 years ago are made from the same materials and cost the same. In other words, you won't be able to sell it for less. They won't sell it to you for less, but they will buy the one that costs 25. Naturally, that is why developers always try to set the longest terms possible.
Are there any, how should I put it, hotheads who don't care about 10 years or 15?
I've never seen anything like this before. Well, I've seen that such contracts are pushed, but I've never seen anyone actually buy one.
In other words, it makes no sense to build anything if you are under 25 years old.
Well, around 23, 25, yes, 28. It's about 23, 28 years old right now.
Even if there is definitely a 15-year lease plus some extension indeed?
Yes, it's all just speculation. Your extension, it's simply, well, speculation. If you have a contract that is immediately signed for 30 years, but you have only paid for 15, I can understand that. But if you have a 15-year contract with a possible preferential extension, they might get lost in about 15 years. Nuts.
Subtitles created by Dima Tozok.